Königslutter is a small village in Lower Saxony with an old town full of Baroque and medieval half-timbered houses. The backdrop could hardly look more German. Into this picturesque setting enter 30 refugees from Somalia and Sudan. They arrived in Germany a few months ago and applied for asylum. The scene is being repeated in many other towns as more and more refugees come to Germany. By the end of 2013, the numbers could top 100,000, the highest in more than a decade. The welcome has been mixed.
Of course, we've noticed a lot more dark-skinned people around here. But then they have to go somewhere.
If I had any say about it, I'd send them all home. It's disastrous. What do they want here?
They didn't flee just because they enjoy fleeing. They're in a bad situation.
They're friendly and nice. We've already celebrated a festival together.
Königlutter's mayor admits taking in the refugees has posed some major challenges for his town of 15,000 people. But the town is obligated to help, both legally and morally.
If we consider the world situation today, I think Germany has an obligation to take in refugees. Of course, for a town the size of Königslutter, it isn't that easy because we have to see where living space is available and where we can accommodate these people.
Königslutter has no shelters or dormitories as of yet. The refugees are staying in tenement blocks in a residential area. Now, after a somewhat bumpy start, they're getting along well with their German neighbors. They've even learned to sort their trash, a German specialty.
I don't have any problems with these people. They're decent as far as I'm concerned. If they're ever loud, it's only briefly. It doesn't bother us.
The federal government pays the rent and provides €320 a month allowance for each asylum seeker. The refugees say that by far they prefer Germany to their home countries.
I hope I'll be able to stay here. There's war in my home country, Somalia. But I feel safe here. Germany has become my second home. Everyone is very helpful, and they've received us very well.
The mayor would like to get a first-hand look at the refugees' living situation. Their contact people and helpers are mostly volunteers from an aid organization. The volunteers criticize the city council for leaving the refugees to fend for themselves.
An intelligent concept for dealing with these refugees would be nice, a concept that informs the helpers and the volunteers about the mentality of these people, about where they come from, how they think, what their religion is. And do we have anyone here from their religion who can welcome them?
We are hugely dependent on the volunteers' contributions. We wouldn't be able to handle it on our own the way it is.
Obviously, the volunteers are very important, but they're not the only ones. I think the government could do a bit more.
The mayor says the criticism is justified, but the town's budget simply doesn't have room for him to do more.
What we really need is someone in a permanent position to take charge. I think that's a job the state and federal governments should see about, and that's how I see it.
This German class wouldn't even be possible without the voluntary commitment of 2 retired grade school teachers, a commitment that's beginning to pay off.
Ich heiße Ramsey, ich komme aus Sudan. Ich mache Asyl in Deutschland.
The refugees say that next to the language, their biggest problem is the tedium. Bicycles that some of the local people donated are some help, but the asylum seekers can't range very far. By law, they're only allowed to leave the country in exceptional circumstances.
It's still necessary to keep tabs on everyone and to know where they are at any given moment, because decisions sometimes have to be made at relatively short notice, or there might be a hearing in the procedure. So I think the residential obligation is the right thing.
It takes an average of 8 months for a decision to be made on an application. Only a small fraction of the applicants will be granted asylum in Germany, about 1% last year. But around a third of the refugees can stay temporarily. Königslutter will be receiving even more refugees soon. The mayor is having living containers set up on city property. They'll provide room for up to 50 asylum seekers at a cost to the community of about 50,000 euros.
If we can set up containers as we need them and take them down when we don't have as many asylum seekers, that's a flexibility that we definitely need.
These containers have to be ready to move into by October. If the new refugees show up earlier, the town will have a housing shortage.